Today, we're digging into some really interesting source material from Automatic Leader. It tackles a challenge I think pretty much everyone in a leadership spot runs into sooner or later.
Oh, absolutely. It really zeroes in on this, well, surprisingly common mistake, doesn't it? Trying to lead everyone on the team the exact same way.
Yeah, that one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. It's a trap.
And it kind of feels like the default sometimes. You find a style that clicks for you, and you just apply it across the board.
Yeah.
But this Automatic Leader material makes a really strong case that that actually limits your team.
It does, and it introduces a specific framework as the solution. Situational leadership,
Yep.
the one developed by Ken Blanchard and Paul Hersey.
That's the one. And that's really the heart of the source's argument here. Situational leadership, it's not about your fixed style at all.
Right. It's all about adapting your approach based entirely on the individual you're leading. Specifically, like where they are right then for a particular task, their readiness or development level.
Exactly. So our goal is basically to unpack how Automatic Leader presents this framework. We want to understand the moving parts, the components.
Yeah, and see how they suggest you can actually become, a more effective leader by tailoring your approach, how it unlocks better performance.
Like better efficiency for the whole team too. People working more optimally because they're being led optimally for their current situation.
Yep. Ultimately, Automatic Leader ties this whole process, this continuous assessment and adaptation of your style to building a much more dynamic, higher performing team and, getting better collective results in the end.
Automatic leaders suggest that success with this means you're always assessing where someone is and tweaking your approach accordingly.
If applying this situational leadership framework really means you're constantly focused on meeting individuals exactly where they are on their development path for every single task, what does that really imply about let's say, the ultimate nature of success for you as a leader? Is success measured only by the final results the team achieves? Or is a huge part of that success actually found in the ongoing day-to-day process of actively developing the people you lead?
Okay, so the source kicks things off by defining these development levels, and they're not just personality types, right? It's more specific.
No, not at all. It's about how ready someone is for a specific task or a specific responsibility. And they map out 4 clear stages, D1 through D4.
D1 to D4.
Yeah, and they really frame it as a potential journey someone might take, as they get more experience, more confidence in a role, or maybe just on one project.
Okay, so D1, that's the enthusiastic beginner. How does the source describe them?
Low competence for the task itself, but really high commitment, high enthusiasm. They're eager, maybe they're new, totally willing to learn.
Right, so they want to do it, they're just not sure how yet.
Precisely. They need that guidance on the actual task.
Okay, makes sense. What about D2 then?
D2, the disillusioned learner. This is where, according to Automatic Leader, things get interesting. They've actually picked up some competence. They're not total beginners anymore,
Okay.
but their commitment has dropped. Maybe they've hit a wall, failed at something, and that initial buzz has worn off.
Okay,
Yes.
so they know just enough now to see how tough it is or how much they still don't know.
Yeah,
Competence is going up, but the commitment, the motivation is dipping down.
that's exactly it. They've faced some reality checks, maybe.
Then you've got D3, the source calls them the capable but cautious performer. So high competence here.
Yeah, generally high competence. They know how to do the job pretty well.
Mhm.
But, and this is key, their commitment or maybe their confidence, it can still fluctuate. Maybe they're just, a bit hesitant to jump into something new on their own, or perhaps a recent setback kind of rattled them. Needs a bit of a nudge sometimes.
So skilled, definitely skilled, but maybe doesn't always show that initiative or self-assurance without some, backup.
Exactly. They know what to do, but might need some reassurance, maybe some collaboration on how to handle certain curveballs.
Got it. And that leaves D4, the self-reliant achiever.
Yeah.
This sounds like the ideal state.
Pretty much. Automatic Leader defines them as having both high competence and high commitment. They've got the skills and the drive.
Right. These are the people who are skilled, motivated, confident, just ready to take ownership and, run with things.
Exactly. You can hand it off.
Okay, so we have these 4 development levels, D1 through D4, charting that journey, task by task, from eager newbie to confident expert.
Hmm.
And the framework then matches a specific leadership approach, a style to each one. And it balances 2 things, right? Task direction and relationship support.
Yes, the source really emphasizes those two elements. Those are your main levers as a leader. How much specific how-to guidance do you give on the task? That's direction.
Okay.
And then how much encouragement, listening, praise, relationship building stuff do you provide? That's the support piece.
Gotcha. Direction and support. Okay, let's link them up. For that D1, the enthusiastic beginner, low competence, high commitment, what do they need?
Well, they need to know what to do and how. So Automatic Leader points out they need high direction, but actually pretty low support, at least initially.
Low support. Interesting.
Yeah, because their commitment is already high, right? You're providing really clear instructions, maybe demonstrating tasks, supervising quite closely. This style is called directing.
Okay. Directing.
Think about training someone brand new. You show them step by step. You're not really asking for their input on the process just yet.
Makes total sense. They don't need a pep talk right then. They need a clear map.
Okay, what about D2? The disillusioned learner. Competence is growing, but commitment's down.
Right. So this is where, according to the source, you make a big shift. They need high direction and high support.
Both high. Both high. This is the coaching style. Why? Well, they still need guidance to build that competence. That's the high direction. But because their commitment's wavering, they also need encouragement, validation, help working through the roadblocks. That's the high support.
Ah, I see. So you're guiding the learning and actively rebuilding their confidence or motivation, helping them want to keep going.
Exactly. It's about both skill and will at that point.
Okay. Moving on to D3, the capable but cautious performer. High competence, but that variable confidence or commitment.
For them, Automatic Leader suggests low direction but high support. This is the facilitating style.
Okay, facilitate.
They generally know how to do the task, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to be breathing down their neck with instructions, your role shifts. It's more about providing support, listening to their concerns or ideas, maybe bringing them into decision-making more.
Right.
Offering that encouragement to boost their confidence and keep that commitment steady. You're acting more like a sounding board, maybe a partner.
Got it. So less telling, more empowering and supporting. Okay. And finally, D4, the self-reliant achiever, high competence, high commitment. What's the move?
For the D4, the source recommends delegation. Pretty straightforward. Low direction, low support.
Low on both.
Yeah. You're essentially empowering them to take full ownership.
Yeah.
You trust their skills, you trust their motivation. Your main job is really just to agree on the desired outcome, the what, and then let them figure out the how. You check in, sure, but you're not micromanaging.
Okay, so let me see if I got this. Directing for D1, high D, low S. Coaching for D2, high D, high S. Facilitating for D3, low D, high S. And delegating for D4, low D, low S.
That's it.
And it's all matched to where that person is their competence and commitment for that specific task at that moment, not just them as a person overall.
That's the crucial distinction the source makes. It's task specific.
Now, Automatic Leader seems to emphasize that actually applying this, it isn't some huge, complicated thing you have to roll out all at once.
Yeah, that's a really key point they make. It suggests you don't need to diagnose and perfectly shift your style for your entire team overnight. That would be overwhelming.
Right.
They suggest starting small. Maybe pick just one or two team members, or even just one specific task or project for one person.
Okay, that definitely makes it feel more doable. Just pick one person, one thing they're working on, and consciously think, okay, where are they on the D scale for this?
Exactly. And the material, it actually gives you some pointers, like maybe checklists or questions to ask yourself to help figure out someone's development level for that task.
Oh, practical tools.
Yeah, looking at their past experience, what skills have they actually shown, and what's their attitude or motivation towards this specific thing right now. It kind of pushes you to be a better observer.
Okay, so it helps you diagnose, figure out if they're G1, D2, D3, or D4 for that situation. And the payoff, what Automatic Leader argues you get from doing this, sounds pretty good.
Oh, yeah. The author really argues that consciously flexing your style, based on where someone actually is. It's not just like nice management theory. It directly impacts their engagement and their performance.
Because you're hitting that sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
You're giving them what they actually need at that moment. Not too much help, not too little.
Exactly right. A D1, if you try to delegate, they'll likely flounder, feel lost. A D4, if you're constantly directing them, they'll feel totally stifled, micromanaged.
Makes sense.
So matching the style, it just increases their ability and their willingness to actually perform well.
The core message really seems to be that effective leadership isn't about finding your one perfect style.
No, it's about having the the flexibility, the agility to use 4 distinct styles: directing, coaching, facilitating, and delegating.
And the absolute key to knowing which one to pull out of the toolbox is understanding where your team member currently stands on their development journey for that specific task.
Are they that D1 enthusiastic beginner, the D2 disillusioned learner, the D3 capable but cautious performer, or the D4 self-reliant achiever? Knowing that is step 1.
It's a framework that really asks you, as a leader, to constantly be observing, assessing their competence and their commitment, and then, very deliberately adjusting how much direction and how much support you're giving.
And the promise, or the argument, is that when you get this right, when you match the style to the situation, it really enhances individual engagement, it boosts performance, improves overall efficiency.
Better team results.
Better team results, exactly.
It really does demand a different kind of focus from a leader, though, doesn't it? This constant observation and adaptation.